Look, I understand that this title needs some explanation. If black people are haunted, who are we haunted by? To understand that, we got to rewind a little bit to something I said very recently, and that'll clear it up for y'all. To address some of my haters directly, yes, I talk about white scammers all the time. Most of them happen to be politicians. As for the street level white scammers, white YouTubers with a lot more subscribers than me, got them covered. My world is black. Stop asking me to talk about everybody else. All caught up. Living in America in a racially stratified society, meaning that we categorize ourselves by race, it leads to me having to make videos like this to explain why, over the course of 2 years of making videos, video essays, I've had to explain time and time again why most of my work, not all of it, is about blackness and about black people. See, being black, that whole racial construct, because it's not a real thing. I'm not actually black, I'm more chocolate brown. It's inherently defined as the opposite of whiteness. Of course, that was rooted in black meaning evil and subpar and inferior and uh, with bad intent, malintent, all that stuff. All that was put on us by white people way back when. I'm not here to rehash slavery. Fast forwarding to today, where black is the kind of dominant term that we use to refer to ourselves outside of African American, which is still debated in some circles. Now that we call ourselves black in America and the whole diaspora, what comes with that? Constantly seeing white people as the invisible audience that's in the room with us. I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and we didn't originate this thought, but even in rooms where there's no white people present, for some black people, there is always the specter of whiteness kind of haunting in the background, meaning we police our behavior based on what white people think. We're trying not to make our whole race look bad in front of the white overseers. And of course, that stems from respectability politics, people like Bill Cosby, who pushed that type of mindset on us for years and years. Black Republicans, Republicans in general, they've always preached this like, oh, if you got your act together and you acted right or acted correctly, you'll be successful. So we've used white success and white riches and white wealth as a measuring stick for how well we're doing at any time in Black America. And that's a problem because it restricts us from having necessary conversations within our own community about what our own are doing. As I said in that quote, I was not exaggerating. My world is black. It's taken me a lot of years to get here, but now that I'm here, it was like an awakening, like, oh, I've been measuring myself and judging myself by what white people think of me for my entire life. You can't even blame me for it, right? I went to school with white people, majority white schools for my entire life. I went to Georgia Tech, a primarily white college. I lived in England for a couple of years, the whitest of the white people on this planet. So when you're constantly surrounded by that and that's your normal, what else are you gonna think? How else are you gonna measure yourself? When all the rich people you know about are white, how else are you gonna measure yourself? What TV and movies show us all the time about what success is and what it means. We didn't have a choice in this. And even speaking for the people who look like me, who come from poor socioeconomic backgrounds, the only rich people they see that look like them are the ones who play sports, make music, or entertain in some way, influencers, YouTubers. That's the only measure of success a lot of them see, and the only measure of success that the older people around them lift up and glorify. So, what else are they going to think? Because even the ones that they lift up and glorify, they also measure themselves based on a white measure of success. Black athletes, black rappers, they're all aspiring to a depiction of success that mirrors whiteness. And there's very few exceptions to that rule, because as African Americans, it's hard for us to even identify what that looks like. What does it mean to be black if it isn't the opposite of whiteness? When we see a black person doing something embarrassing or calling one of us out for bad behavior or in my case, calling out scams. We finger wag them and chastise them for doing what they believe in my case, and even acting foolish in the other people's cases, because we're like cringing at the thought of what a white person would think if they were in the room with us or if they're watching here on YouTube. And we gotta let go of that. I understand how deeply rooted it is and where it comes from. But in order for us to truly be free, and especially in order for us to self actualize and become what we want to become, instead of what this mostly white supremacist capitalist machine in America wants us to become, we have to see ourselves as more than the opposite of whiteness or more than the counterpart of whiteness. That is a process, man. Like, that's a process I'll never be finished with. I'm not saying I'm fully free of it, but I'm working on it. And what I'm here to do is encourage people to work on it, because it is necessary for us to identify the people in our midst that are using that proximity to whiteness to steal from us and disregard our value as a community. Now, I arrive at whiteness. We have to analyze it just a little bit in order to make this picture full. One aspect of whiteness is that it's also a social construct that does not exist. Italian people didn't used to be white. Irish people didn't used to be white. Jews did not used to be white. And a lot of them are accepted into whiteness now. Why? Because it's convenient. Whiteness was always used as an in group to keep property value and keep wealth contained and away from the Negroes. That's the only purpose it's ever served in this country. Other countries don't even have the same concept of whiteness. They don't even think about it in that stratified way. That was an invention of the Europeans who immigrated here and had to separate themselves and justify slavery. That's all it is. So if whiteness is a social construct, then we have to start deconstructing that in order to understand what the value of our blackness is. I have no problem with keeping the term blackness. It's fine. I like it. The whole "I'm black and I'm proud" movement, it did its job. Like, I feel like James Brown and all them, they did work. They was cooking. I'm proud of the term. I'm proud to be called black. I'm proud of the group I belong to. I think we're dope as hell. And obviously the world does too, because they steal everything from us, including our slang and our food and our music and our money. Within this racial construct of whiteness, there are a subgroup of them that are thieves. They originated that. They are the OG thieves. Because they stole people. Like, they took thieving to a whole other level. And not only that, but they devised a system where they could take those people's babies too, and those people's babies, and those people's babies, based on the color of their skin. That's wild. That's a whole new level of thievery, and I don't think anybody's devised anything comparable since. I say all this to say, you don't have to define yourself by what white people are doing. Let them do what they do and let us do what we do. And the last thing I want to address is the concept of tearing down our own. Black people who take from our community are not my own. They're not your own either. We are not in this giant pot where we have to defend everything black no matter what shape it takes and no matter what those people are doing on a larger scale. It all matters. Integrity matters, your purpose matters, your intention matters, and outcomes matter. I am not in community with people who take from us. I'm not in community with people who use psychological schemes and use people's pressure points against them and high pressure sales tactics against them to drain them of resources they can't afford to lose. Those are not my own, and they're not yours either. I think I made the point I'm here to make. I'm not a fan of talking forever for no reason. So I'll catch y'all in the next one. Black people, y'all gotta start acting like there are no white people in the room, even when you're out in public, even when you're out in community with them. We got better music over here anyway.